Good evening, everyone. Happy Monday to you. Happy Pi Day. It is March 14th. It is Pi Day. If you're in places like Little Rock, you might be able to get some pie for 30% off at the grocery store. Sometimes they do that, the major grocery store chains there. I'm not sure, but I did have birthday cake flavored pie this last Sunday because actually this week is going to be my birthday this Wednesday. And it was pretty good. It was kind of cream on cream taste. Pretty rich. I don't recommend eating more than one slice of it, but very good. So I hope you guys are doing well. My wonderful Catholic Baron says, "You look and sound great, love." Well, thank you. Good. Actually, I have a slightly different mic setup. I put it in a different channel this time. It's a channel I never use, and so I hope it sounds pretty nice and crisp. Also, my mic was closer. I actually extended the mic rod a little closer to me, so that might be. I don't want to make too much noise. There we go. Trying to straighten the mic out there. So yeah, there we go. So happy Monday to everyone. Let's go ahead and welcome the chat, and we're going to be talking about strange music news. It's strange to me. I find it strange, and hopefully I bring on some insight on what I think about these few pieces of music news. Actually, one's not news, one's a rumor, and then the others are just my thoughts on what's going on. But if you guys have insight on it as well, that would be great. So it should be a pretty casual stream. It's pretty impromptu. Besides one small article I'm reading, it's just going to be off the cuff. So let's go ahead and welcome the chat. We've got Big Al. Ooh, strange, intriguing. Well, it's not like, UFO strange. This is just stuff I find kind of odd. And it has to do with music. It has to do with what's going on in the music world. So interesting stuff to know. We've got my wonderful Catholic Bible geek in the house, ready for your wisdom, my Tenuviel. So that's nice. That's a very nice romantic name. I accept. And so of course I've called him my Baron. And big old smiley face from Al. And Go Team Ghost Planet is also in the house. Oh, I forgot to say go at the end of your last name. Your name, not last name. Maybe it's your last name. I don't know. And thank you. Yes, I think it'll be a wonderful birthday, especially when the prof is around. He knows how to make me feel very special. And we've got Dr. Y, as in Dr. Y, not Dr. How, not Dr. Where, not Dr. Who, Dr. Y. And Zootopia as well. And Ace is in. Hopefully you can stay, but if not, I know sometimes you catch it on the replay. It'll just be random stuff today. But Big Al is disappointed. No UFOs. It's true. It's true. So all right. So let me grab a swig of water. And let's start with the first bit of news that's actually not news. In fact, you notice that news is in quotations because, this isn't a cultural geek news channel. A lot of people we know have that, cultural perspective. Oh, this is what's going on in the news. This is just what I've read and what I feel about it. So, don't take it as a bit of piece of information that you should think is valid or can be verified. This is just stuff I've read or stuff I speculate, or maybe I'm reading speculation of other people. So this first bit of news, I've got 3 pieces of news to talk about. And we can, go back and forth between the different pieces of news. The first one actually is not news at all. This is so far strictly a rumor. And I really honestly don't know how I feel about it, whether I care, whether I should be concerned or whatever. But that is that it had been speculated, like a rumor. It had been rumored that Howard Shore, the composer of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, was in talks of maybe producing music or composing music for at least one of the episodes of Amazon's Rings of Power. Now, honestly, I would say if that's true, it's kind of a given for a couple of reasons. The first is the most obvious reason, and that is, well, he composed for The Lord of the Rings. He composed for The Hobbit. So he has he has his history in the Middle Earth sound as we know it. The other reason is he's still been pretty active as a composer. Even since the Jackson trilogy, he's just been at it with different television projects, different film. He does. I think he works predominantly in the horror genre, or at least the psychological thriller, like Silence of the Lambs. So that's not really my genre to look into, but I'm sure he's a very good composer for all of that. I'm sure he works in the psychology. I mean, he kind of probably worked in that with the Shelob lair scene, or Frodo, and before he encounters Shelob, he's in the tunnels, and it has the kind of the electrifying string sound. So it would be a given if Howard Shore was to produce at least enough music for one or two episodes, if not all of it. Now, my question, or rather my thoughts on that, is if he is to sign up to do something like that, yeah, that would actually bring in the normies, that would actually bring in more fans. Fans would actually, I've seen it too. I've seen it float around. Fans who were otherwise not excited to see Amazon's Rings of Power, the television show, they would be excited if Howard Shore was brought on. I'm like, well, do you have standards? I mean, I'm a composer and I have mad respect for someone like Howard Shore, and I still will not see it because I have principles. I'm sticking to those principles. I'm not watching it for any reason, even if Howard Shore is involved. But I would say if he is involved, he should be involved with it all the way, because my prediction, let's just say it happens. My prediction, if he is involved with the show, and he's only in one or two episodes, or his music is only in one or two episodes out of 8. I don't know how many episodes is involved with this series. I think it's actually a lot, but whatever the case is, even if he's just in a little bit, it's going to be a huge juxtaposition, because the composer, whoever the composer is, they will be more. I have a feeling if it's not Howard Shore, it's going to be someone younger. It's not going to be someone like Danny Elfman, Randy Newman. It's not going to be, but obviously it's not going to be someone as old and prestigious as John Williams. It's not going to be Howard. What's his name? Hans Zimmer. It's not going to be people like that. It's not going to be people in their, getting into their 60s, 70s, and 80s. It's going to be a young composer, maybe a composer who's been involved in television or even has assisted other composers in television. And if that's the case, and I think it would be, then there would be a huge juxtaposition, a huge difference in sound and tone and instrumentation and feel. You'll feel like you're in Middle Earth with Howard Shore, and then you're going to feel like you're in the Pacific Northwest. You're going to feel like you're on the Oregon coast with whoever is the composer involved. That is not Howard Shore. That's just young composers. They do not compose. When I say young, I mean 50 and below, maybe 40 and below, in their 40s and below. They just do not have the same acumen, experience, and flavor. They don't have the nuance. They don't have the nuance of narrative and contrapuntal motion. Just a counterpoint. That's the term I was thinking about. So there would be, it would really feel off. Like you would have some episodes that feel great. I was like, oh yeah, this sounds like Middle Earth. And then you'd have other episodes that it will be off-putting, and people who don't even have musical sensibilities will be put off by it, because unless you have someone who really knows the inner workings of the way Howard Shore composes music, and it's a very specific method. It's a very specific compositional process. Now, compositional intuition too. It's going to be hard. The contrast is going to be there, even among the normies. They're going to say, why does this episode feel off? So anyway, I hope he's not involved. I have not seen any endorsement of Peter Jackson with this new project that Amazon is doing. I've seen Jonathan, not his, what's his name? I think it's Jonathan Howe, Alan Lee, and John Howe. I think John Howe, the conceptual artist, has been involved with Amazon. But besides that, I haven't seen any endorsements from past cast members or writers, and I have not seen an endorsement from Peter Jackson. I understand that he endorsed an anime cartoon coming up in the next couple of years on called The War of the Rohirrim. So he's excited about an anime project. But, I'm not crazy about anime taking on a Lord of the Rings project, but it's probably going to be better, like 100,000 times better than what Amazon is about to do. But anyway, those are my thoughts. So, what are your thoughts? I mean, do you want Howard Shore to be involved? Do you feel like he should be, if he is, should he be involved the whole way through, or do you think this is all rumor? This is just all talk to get fans excited. I would like to know what you think. So let's go ahead and see some comments, and then I'll get into the next bit of news as well. 1 second, my coaster fell. All right. Thank you, Ace. You say random is a delight. Yeah, it's about music. It's topical about music, the world of music today, but yeah, it's kind of it'll be fun and casual. And Elijah Brown is here. Welcome. Good to have you. You're the doctor of curiosities. Strange music. I hope that's probably a reference that I don't know about, right? Excuse me. Sir Stone says, finally, I can catch one of these lives. Good. Thank goodness for spring break. Oh, well, happy spring break. I hope you have a wonderful spring break. That's great. Well, I hope it's good stream. Ace says, if Rings of Power does well, it will be another demonstration of people who will watch any junk on TV. Yeah. Do you mean if it does well in the ratings? Well, if you bring in a person like Howard Shore, the ratings will shoot up. They will go up. They will want to hear that awesome sound. And I don't think, I mean, it's been 20 years since Lord of the Rings was released theatrically, or maybe even the DVDs. Well, let's just say ballpark at 20 years. And I would say, like, if Howard Shore had been inactive as a composer, he could lose his touch. You compose, it's like an instrument. You have to keep at it daily to get better and better. You can't, it doesn't, I would say it could stick with you, but you wouldn't have this same ability if you didn't compose after that. But he has been active, so he probably still would be a very good candidate. Again, though, I would not watch it. Even for him, I would not watch it. Sir Stone says, I like anime, but man, I am skeptical of the Lord of the Rings anime. I mean, we had a few weeks back talked about aesthetics. I can see a kind of anime style for Middle-earth. I could definitely see it with the race of elves and men. I don't know how they would portray hobbits and dwarves. Well, with the Rohirrim, it would definitely be with the people of Edoras. So it would be the race of men. That would be where it's centered on. And I can imagine Norse or Scandinavian Viking aesthetics. The aesthetics that we do see of the Rohirrim, you think Scandinavian, you think far north Europe. And I think that's doable. I would say it is possible for anime to pull that off really, really well. But at the same time, well, yeah, actually, one reason is Rankin and Bass, the older animation of Rankin and Bass had kind of it was definitely an American look, but it did have a quality that was East Asian, that was Japanese. And I wish Rankin and Bass did complete the Lord of the Rings trilogy when they did. I enjoy watching it for what it is. I'm not saying it's high quality, but it's such a experience. Maybe I'm partial to Rankin and Bass because I grew up like I was a toddler in the 80s and I grew up as a kid in the 90s. Um, so I would say anime probably could do it if it's done really carefully and really well. But I would also not be surprised if they didn't pull it off either. So it's a crapshoot. I would say it's 50-50. It can either be done really, really well, but it has to be done carefully, or it could kind of, I don't know. We'll see. But maybe Peter Jackson is excited about something like that. All right. The next bit of music news that I kind of found funny, but also kind of annoying at the same time. And when I'm talking about this guy, you guys are gonna think I don't like this guy. I don't know him, but we'll talk about him. Um, and that has to do with the newly released Pixar film. Have you guys seen this floating on Twitter? I didn't know about it until I was looking at Twitter trending and all that. But have you seen the new Pixar release called Turning Red? I was looking at it, and I'm gonna say, first of all, you guys, we have to. Okay, this is released in March. This is the month of International Women's Day, but now they want to branch it out to International Women's Month. So Pixar had to announce the first, female executive producer and director and writer. I don't know who these women are, but I think it's predominantly a female run film called Turning Red, and it's without we're not gonna have any strong language here on the chat or from me, but it's basically symbolic of a coming of age film regarding a 13-year-old girl coming of age that is in the literal physiological sense, if you know what I mean. You're working with the color red, turning red. It's not euphemism because it's kind of a new idea that these filmmakers created. But I'm going to say this, okay? I'm ready for, this might be controversial, but I can say it because I'm a woman. I am ready for women to just do art and not talk about being a woman. The whole premise of this film is a very specific coming of age thing for girls, and it's all about empowerment and don't be embarrassed and embrace it and stuff like that. And it's just like, we go through our insecurities, okay? As 13-year-olds, we go through our insecurities, and it's like, cool. And then you move on. You go through high school, you go through the growing pains of high school, and then you move on. And so Pixar is really championing. I can't say the verb right now. Really applauding this momentous film about a literal coming of age moment for a 13-year-old girl. And the humor involves only that topic, I understand. And they actually are marketing they're marketing this film as a kid family film, but if it's talking about certain stuff of certain older kids, then it's not for kids unless the parents are ready to talk to their 5-year-old about what does this mean, mom? And that's the mom's choice, but at the same time it's like, okay, no, just. So I'm tired of women talking about women in their art. Call me bad. You can say it. You can say it, but it's so aggravating to champion a work of art all about empowerment. It's like, what about just make a good film and a good story? And people do say that this plot is wholesome. It's like, oh, it's 4 girls wanting to go see their favorite boy concert and stuff like that. It's like, okay, cool. Maybe I'm not interested because 1, I'm in my 30s and I don't have kids. And 2, I never had that. I never had that. I had best friends that were into boy groups, boy band groups, but I never had that myself. I was a prima donna. I was listening to classical music when I was that age. So that was kind of pathetic on my part as a kid. But so the story, it could be wholesome. I'm not sure, but what is my point of talking about this movie? Well, my eyes gravitate toward the slot who where the name is of the composer, the person who composes music. Now, apart from Billie Eilish and her brother Phineas O'Connell, I think that's her brother's name. Really good music producer. I'm kind of jealous of him because he's like 10 years younger than me. He makes a lot of money producing music. But apart from them, the person who has completed the soundtracks for this film is none other than Ludwig Göransson of The Mandalorian. And so I found that really, like, when I saw that, I was kind of like, it was like an eye roll moment. I was like, of course, yeah, of course it's him. Why wouldn't it be him? He did the Black Panther, he did the Mandalorian. He should do the next thing. So he goes from Mandalorian to something of this, topic, concerning 13-year-old girls and hip hop boy bands like Backstreet Boys and NSYNC were the boy bands of my day. And so I'm like, okay, well, that's a shift. That's an artistic shift. So I listened to the soundtrack, and I'm gonna give this for Göransson. It's good music. I'm gonna say that it's really good music as far as beats are concerned. He's very good at working. He was very good at working with harmony and instrumentation with his electronic sounds and beats for this film. And there were some, like, I guess, Chinese instrumentation, which was really haphazard. It sounded really, really haphazard. I mean, I know he has the resources to actually have a little bit more authentic Asian instruments, but I think actually it was based on the premise I read of this film, it was heavily stereotypical of Asian culture. Like I lived in Seattle where it was predominant. It was like 40% Asian. So some of my best friends growing up were Asian, Korean Americans, and so I would spend time in these Asian families' homes, and I would know a little bit about their culture. I was in the orchestra, highly competitive among Asian and white Americans, but mostly Asians because they're really competitive in the music, in the music space, in the music experience. So I have some in my own cultural upbringing, having friends, a lot of friends who are of East Asian descent. I kind of cringed, like I kind of cringed at the stereotype, but it actually the people who promoted the film and did the film and directed the film and wrote the film, they're all, I think they're all Asian women, so they're talking about the Asian experience. But the more I was reading about it, it was stereotypical. It was kind of in your face with the stereotype. But not only that, I think it was meant to be a parody of the Asian family dynamics. And if Asians want to do that, that's fine. I think that's been the thing in the last 5 years or so, with sitcoms and stuff like that. But I still felt, I'm not watching the movie, but I still felt a little strange with the instrumentation. It's like, okay, like half of it's a library of electronic sounds, and then it's cheap toy sounding Asian instruments. It doesn't sound like, I have presets in my Logic Pro, a very cheap software, that sounds much more authentic, and that's not a good compliment, because it's not a compliment at all, because it's like I can make something sound a little bit more authentic. Now, maybe that's what he was going for. Maybe that's what the director told him to do. Maybe she said, "Hey, we want this to be a parody of Asian family dynamics, so make it kind of quirky." And that's her call. That's her film. She could do whatever she wants. But so it was good, though. His music was good. I just wanted to say, though, on top of that, it was only beats. There was like one track that didn't have a beat kit to it, and it sounded nice. All of it sounded nice, but then going back to recently, Encanto by Disney, with the Colombian magical family, I was listening to that soundtrack. That actually sounds a lot more authentic, even though it's obviously Disneyfied, but it sounds much better in quality and authenticity as far as culture is concerned. Like the kind of magical, fantastical Colombian, like a mythical version of a Colombian family. What else? Oh, and then going back then all the way back 20 years back to Pixar's Monsters, Inc. with Randy Newman. And I listened to that. I was like, "Oh, man, see, that sounds like film music." See, the thing with Göransson is he does beats really well. He does electronic soundscapes very well. He's as far as sound quality is concerned, albeit the cheap Asian instruments that I heard, it's good. I would give it an A. But as far as movie making with the music, unless that's what movie producers want, unless that's what the writers want, it sounds too much like pop culture. Like the movie soundtrack experience should be pretty distinct from just like any pop culture experience. One reason why I know that they would probably continue with the beats with this movie Turning Red is it the plot surrounds is centered on these girls going to this concert, this boy band concert. So okay, if you want the beats, okay, fine with the beats. But if Ludwig Göransson continues this way, like and continues composing for family, family films, is he gonna still do beats? I heard a little bit of the beat making with Encanto, but not as much. The composer, I think he's a Latin composer, a Latin man, but I can't really see the name. I'm sure you guys could put the name in the chat. He had more musical sensibilities when it came to film production, like a film cinematic feel. Whereas this playlist of Turning Red, I'm like, okay, if it's talking about, going to a concert, a boy band concert, but Ludwig Göransson, can you write cinematic film music? And I ask that question honestly because I know I can't. Like no one should dare approach me saying, "Hey, we heard your soundscapes. We think you would be wonderful for this 2-hour film." And I'm like, "Well, I haven't composed for films before, and I know what film music sounds like, but I don't have the expertise." And so we'll see. I'm gonna keep my eyes peeled on upcoming projects that he's doing because I think he's sticking with the beats. I think he's sticking with exclusively electronic music. And my question is, would it be appropriate for other things? I think he's doing an upcoming Nolan film. That's a given. Nolan wants strictly harsh electronic sounds, so that's all right. But family stuff, like if Pixar wants him to do for other things, so we'll see. So I found that kind of strange. I found that a little bit strange that Göransson was chosen for that. And it makes me wonder. Here's a little bit of a teaser for the topic I'm thinking of doing next week. It makes me wonder if there has been, and that is something I've not been aware of maybe, if there's always been this corporate nepotism concerning composers. Because I'm seeing composers being given movies, first of all, movies that might not be appropriate to their style. And second of all, movies when they already have movies to compose for. It's like Göransson had 4 movies in the span of, I think 2020. I think 2020 into 2021, he had, I think, yeah, 2019 to 2020, he had something like 4 or 5 films. And that's a lot of music for a composer to work on. And I say, like, yeah, I'm a capitalist, but at the same time, I'm not really a capitalist in the sense of nepotism. It's like, oh, well, we know this composer. He could do this, even though he's doing 4 other movies. Well, what about his assistant? Or maybe he has 3 assistants for his films. Maybe they know how to arrange. Maybe they know how to compose. And so I'm actually going to probably talk about that in length for our next topic. Oh, that's so sweet of you, Al. I appreciate that. I would only say, you only have to put the thumbs up if you want. I get thumbs down, and so that means I'm moving around the feeds of the YouTube feeds, the algorithm. But yeah, I'm not I still haven't. I've done this for 2 years now, and I still haven't done the hit the subscribe button, click, and hit that bell for your notifications. Because for me, when I do that, I know I'm going to do that. I'm not the person that has to be reminded, like, oh, hit subscribe, hit like, and all that. And but I'm not saying that you shouldn't encourage that, Al. All I'm saying is I humbly accept your likes if you so choose. And if you don't feel like liking, that's okay too. All right. So that's the end of my second topic, my music topic. Oh, on Lord of the Rings, Sir Stone says, well, in terms of Scandinavian anime, there is the Vinland Saga manga. Maybe something like that, but less gory. Oh, yeah, please. Oh, okay. That would be a turnoff for me. Because I know anime, I don't know a lot of anime, but I listen to people on YouTube who like anime. And I understand that a lot of anime content involves gore and violence. And yeah, it's the War of the Rohirrim, but don't be gratuitous. There could be some blood, but if it's like slasher gore, for that's not noble when it comes to something like War of the Rohirrim. You want a sense of nobility in the violence. I know that sounds strange, but this is not like, gluttonous gore, just gore for the sake of gratifying, the senses. No, like the Tolkien himself wrote war in a way that is poignant, that you have to feel a sense of loss when you're in that kind of setting. So if they go gore, oh, that would be a massive turnoff. And I feel like I feel like Peter Jackson would be still endorsing something like that, because didn't he do some slasher stuff? I know he likes slasher stuff. But I thought he actually had that as a couple of his projects in the 80s. I think he had some of that going on. Anyway, let's continue. Elijah Brown says, I've seen clips of Turning Red. It's very energetic and made me laugh at times. That's good. Kind of sounds deeper than that, Sound Engraver. It might, but spoiler. Oh, you're not spoiling anything for me. I read the synopsis, or I read the Wikipedia. Her mother transforms too. Family is a strong theme in this movie. Oh, Professor's in the house. So Catholic and Professor is in the house. Are in the house, because they're two different people. No, they're actually not two different people. They are one and the same. Dropping some hard truth, folks. Your Mando Book of Fett support is support of the red panda. Yeah. But keep those heads in the sand. It's easier that way, right? Well, I hope there's no point of contention between Prof and some other people who listen to this stream. Yeah, I mean, okay. I mean, I'm kind of being a little. I won't say sardonic, but I will say this. Something like Turning Red, just the premise alone turns me off, because first of all, I don't like bodily humor, especially involving the female autonomy. And people might think, oh, you just have no sense of humor, or you're insensitive, or what are you, feminist or whatever? I just think it's gross. Okay. And so even when it's clean, even when it's cleanly done, and I've seen it done grossly, but also cleanly done, it's just like, do you women have nothing else to talk about? Come on. It's like, I like I'm probably just going on a tangent, but my mind, when I'm entertained, I think of things like science fiction. I think of generating sci-fi sounds. I think of radio. I think of just I think of retro gaming. I mean, there's so many other more fascinating things than talking about your monthly thing. And I just don't appreciate that being the movie that Pixar has to announce as the first female thing. Oh, so this is the first female director. It's like, cool. She talks about this. Why couldn't it have been a space opera? So that's just me ranting. Now, you guys could totally disagree with me on that. Like, you guys can like the humor and think it's great. And I wouldn't fault you for that. I wouldn't think ill of you or anything like that. But that's just me. I kind of wish, okay, let me put it this way. Men directing movies don't talk about being men. Okay? So why is it the same with women? Or why can't it be the same with women? I'm not saying it's everything. Like we've had some female directors actually direct very good stuff that has nothing to do with being female. I just wish there were more of it and less of the other stuff. Anyway. Sir Stone agrees, but Sir Stone, I also know, doesn't watch the new Star Wars stuff, and that's probably good. I do hear with the Kenobi series. Oh my goodness, like the Kenobi series coming up. I should do some predictions. Maybe if we have time, I'll do my Kenobi predictions. But I will say with the Kenobi series, I am hearing left and right, top to bottom, all over the map. I'm hearing this. If they get Kenobi wrong, I'm done. I'm out. Goodbye, Disney Star Wars. And I'm like, no, you're not done. You can hate what they do with the Kenobi series, and you will watch the next project because you can't help yourself. That's my prediction of the Star Wars fans. The Star Wars fans who are like, oh, I'm gonna stick it to Disney, and I'm gonna say, you know, they got Kenobi wrong. They didn't treat him right. They spent too much time with the Inquisitors. They brought in Ahsoka. I heard the now this is not the case. If this happened, Disney doesn't know how aging works, but I don't think it'll happen. But people are coming up with really dumb ideas like, oh, is Mando going to hijack the Kenobi series? I'm like, Mando would have to be like 10. So unless they have a boy Mando, like learning the bounty stuff, the bounty hunter stuff, maybe. But I don't think they would do that. People are nervous that Ahsoka. I've heard from people who like Ahsoka Tano are nervous that Ahsoka Tano will come. They're not crazy about that idea, but you know, it's like it doesn't matter. Like if you guys, not you guys in the chat, but if the Star Wars fans who are just adamant that they say if they mess this up, if they mess up my boy Kenobi, that's it. I'm not watching anymore. I'm like 6 months later. Oh, this series looks awesome. Final Fantasy fan says, let's talk about woman in this movie. You're a storyteller. You're an actor. You're an entertainer. You're a writer. No one cares. So shut up and create stories and do your job. Yeah, and I'm not against, you know, my protagonist in my science fiction is a female. I wrote a novel that's totally not of that world. Actually, it's set in this world, a speculative novel years ago, and I'll get back to it. And the main characters are 2 men because I always felt like I could write men better, which sounds strange, but that's probably not the case anymore. The older I get, but I enjoyed writing male protagonists, and actually I was a little bit reluctant to have a female protagonist because every time I had a female character, she always came across as annoying, but that was because I was an amateur writer. Now with practice, with constant frequent practice, you can make any character relatable and likable, and you want to root for them. But so, you know, women who want to write, you know, powerful, you know, female characters, yeah, do it. That's fine. But they can't be annoying. They can't have things given to them, and they can't be special, like the key to everything, unless there is a very valid, poignant reason for all of that. I enjoy the male female dynamics. So I'm playing Final Fantasy, but after I do an hour of Final Fantasy, the prof will do an hour of his games, and he's been doing Kingdom Hearts, and I really love the dynamic relationship between Sora and Kyrie. Like, obviously they're friends, and it was kind of hard for me to see them as like a romantic thing because they're kids, they're quite young, but they're coming of age. You're supposed to kind of see that. He's coming of age as he's taking on the Keyblade, and there's this exchange they have when he recovers Kyrie, and she asks, "Well, I care about you. Can I go with you?" And then he just kind of has this. Well, it's the animation makes his face kind of blank anyway because I think that was back in 2003. But he was so cute. He said, "Well, you kind of get in my way," and I like that's so cute because like we've seen him go through this journey. He's an apt fighter, as my prof is an apt gamer. So it makes sense. She wants to be with him, but they both know that she would just be in the way. She would get into harm's way if she came along. But the way he said it was so cute. It was like, oh, you kind of would be in my way. So anyway, good stuff. Good stuff. And we'll get into the news. Oh, Daniel Heron is in. I gotta check out your CD screen, your stream. That you look like you had so much fun just like popping out the CDs. And did you say you had like 170 to go through or whatever? So that's good. That's good. Elijah Brown says, still though, I've been thinking long and hard about how Prof saying things is support, or says watching things is support. The Marvel nostalgia bait is working on me. I was never truly an MCU fan though. Could you? I mean, if you don't have to if you don't want to, but if you could clarify what you mean by the nostalgia bait. You mean characters coming back? Yeah, I know. I don't know anything about Doctor Strange because we're working through the Marvel films while watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We're working it chronologically. So we have to go through season 4 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We just finished a really good arc last night. I love Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., by the way. It's great. Okay, it says that my Wi-Fi is a little low, but I'm on Ethernet, so if you guys can tell me that I'm connected, that would be great. I love Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I have such strong appreciation for the writing of that story. I'm not saying like everything's perfect about that show. There are some little quirks. I think there was one little quirk I picked up on one of the episodes I saw last night. I was like, oh, would that realistically make sense? It was like a fight scene or whatever. But at the same time, that's the blend of movie magic. Thank you, my prof. Good. Still looks and sounds clear. Good. Yay. Awesome. Good. I was just seeing the icon and I'm like, well, I'm on Ethernet, so I should be good. But the writing, the way the writing is integrated in that show is so good. And so anyway, so Elijah, I didn't know if what you meant by nostalgia bait, but you don't have to be clear about it if you don't want to. But yeah, but remember, with Amazon, maybe in talks of bringing in Howard Shore, with the trailer of Kenobi having the duel of the fates. People get sucked in, my prediction with Kenobi is that people will be very critical of it, be very disappointed with it. My prediction, maybe we should go through the predictions and then we'll talk about the last news. I mean, this is totally off the cuff with my Kenobi prediction. With people, with the fan base, my prediction is that they are going to go hard on the criticism. They're going to go hard on the criticism of the series to the point where many of them are going to say, if they mess this up, I'm done. I'm never going to see Disney Star Wars again. I'm going to walk away. And that's not true. The first thing is if you already see red flags, and you'll see more as content comes in, leaks come in and stuff like that. If you're already seeing red flags, remember, you're not just supporting the Kenobi series, you're supporting the next skewed project of Disney, no matter what that is, whether it's involving Star Wars, Marvel, or whatever Pixar project, because I think they're still doing, they still own Pixar, right? Is that correct? Unless that's changed, I'm not sure. Um, so that's my prediction, is that people are gonna say, "I'm done, I'm out," and then, like, the next 6 months later, it's like, "Oh, let's watch Ahsoka or whatever. Let's support the new Thrawn adaptation. We gotta support the new Thrawn trilogy." Because they're gonna be so mad at Kenobi, and then, like, 9 months later, there's gonna be talks of the Thrawn adaptation or whatever, and they're gonna be like, "Well, I mean, I was so mad what they did with Book of Boba Fett. I was so mad what they did with Kenobi. But I really like Thrawn as a character. Maybe he's gonna be there, and maybe he's gonna be good. Maybe he's gonna be good." It's like that's my prediction with the fan base. I do not trust fans will walk away from Disney. If they're this far into the game, they're addicts. Now some people thoroughly enjoy what Disney is doing. Uh Matt Wilkins did a great episode on EU on the label Legends, and Professor Geek was a panel on that panel. And actually, Professor, if you want, you can go ahead and put that link. I thought it was a really fun episode to watch. I wish it was more than an hour. Where was I going with this? Oh, but the girl on the panel, she's a librarian, and while she likes the EU, she loves the High Republic too. Her library has all Star Wars, Disney and pre-Disney and all of that. And so there are people who thoroughly love everything that Disney is doing. And to those people, I'm like, you know what? If you love it, you love it. It's like I like what I like, you like what you like, and that's what it is. But the people I have a hard time with are the people who say they're not going to support it, and then they're like, "Well, I gotta give this a view. I gotta give this a watch." And it's like, where I am forgiving is people talking about it, talking about it from articles and discussions and forums and stuff like that. But when you watch it, then talk about it, it's like, well, you're kind of feeding the fire. It's like I've heard people say, I'm going to take the bullet, so you don't have to take the bullet. It's like they're going to take the bullet with you. So that's my prediction with uh, the Kenobi series coming up. Story, though, I should give my predictions on the story. I don't know how many episodes are involved. I don't know what the time is for there. So what are my predictions for Kenobi? And we'll talk about the news soon. It's you guys might not care, so we'll talk about Star Wars, and then I'll talk about my last bit of music news. My predictions for Kenobi. The first major prediction I have, and this comes with pattern. Book of Boba Fett had this. Bad Batch had this. I have no doubt this is going to happen to Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's going to be sidelined in his own show. I have a feeling well, there is footage and there are scenes. I've seen pictures. I have seen what people are talking about. And I think there was a picture of Obi-Wan in a place that doesn't look like Tatooine. Now, for him not to be on Tatooine is a mistake right out of the get-go. He needs to stay on Tatooine, no matter who comes to Tatooine. Even Darth Vader himself. I don't really care. I don't think it works. I don't think it fits. But whoever comes to Tatooine, that's one thing. But Kenobi has to stay on Tatooine. That's just a given. Okay, that's his life trajectory. That's his arc as a character. He has to stay on Tatooine. But if that's the case, well, Tatooine's kind of boring. It's just a desert. We had this already with Book of Boba Fett. Why do we have to still stay on a desert planet? You had Tatooine with Mandalorian. You had Tatooine with Book of Boba Fett. I don't know why these creatives didn't think about this. And now you're having Tatooine with Kenobi. Now, that is a problem. That is a creative problem because you will bore the reader. I don't want to say you'll bore the viewer, but you don't have the variety like the prequels had, going to Naboo, going to Coruscant, maybe Tatooine for just a little bit. Kaminoans, what was that planet? But the ocean planet where the clones were. So you had variety with the prequels. Star Wars is a galaxy, so you have the ability to see different planets. You saw that with the Clone Wars, the animated series. So it is really, really a very strange creative decision where you had the Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett, albeit the Mandalorian episodes where he went to someplace else. Still, that didn't make sense in the narrative. And now you have Kenobi with Tatooine. So it is heavily implied that the show is going to involve these inquisitors, these Sith-like inquisitors that we had seen with the rebels. And so you're going to have like this Blade Runner planet look. Like that planet I saw pictures of. I was like, that looks like Blade Runner. Why does it look like Blade Runner? Why? Apart from like the giant holographic, images of the girls and stuff like that, it looks like Blade Runner. Like it looks like Ryan Gosling and he should be there. I would expect Ryan Gosling and replicants and stuff like that to be there. That it just looks like Blade Runner. That's all I'm gonna say. But in any case, maybe it's Star Wars. But it's gonna involve the Inquisitors, and then it's gonna maybe involve Owen and Beru, and maybe the boy Luke. I don't know. But in the process, I think Obi-Wan is gonna be severely sidelined. He's not gonna be the center of it, just like Boba Fett. Boba Fett was in the center of his own show. Kenobi's not going to be in. And so that's a pattern. We've seen it twice with the Bad Batch, and we've seen it with the Book of Boba Fett. So that's the pattern. Kenobi's going to be sidelined in his own show. It's a given. That's going to be complaint number 1. Prediction number 2, and complaint number 2 if this happens, because the fans will have a hard time with it. Well, some fans will. And that is Kenobi is going to be owned. He's going to get owned by weaker characters who are weaker than him, either youths, female characters, maybe elderly characters, whatever the case is, maybe other male characters his age and his body stature and stuff like that. But he is going to be owned. He's going to be either physically banged up a little bit, or he's gonna be talked down on. Like some woman is gonna talk him down. It's like, oh, you're being selfish for living by yourself or something. It's gonna be something like that. So he's gonna be talked down too. He's gonna be beaten up and thrown around, and fans are gonna defend it and say, wait a second, he can't act like a warrior, Michelle. He can't act like a Force user. Because that would give away that he's a Jedi, and the Jedi are obviously being hunted down after the execution or the genocide, the Order 66. To which I say, Prof, help me out. Who wrote the Kenobi book? And he did it really well. Kenobi knew how to stealthily use the Force in that book. Now, actually, until the very end, when he had to save a bad man, he actually ended up being a bad character. He had to save himself and this man from this giant crate-like creature, or crate. And he finally, like at the very end of the book, he displayed his Jedi abilities. But he was in a crater, like crevice and stuff like that. They're in a remote place of Tatooine, where it was probably very unlikely for the Imperials to find them. So, like, it was like in Tuscan territory or whatever. John Jackson Miller, who wrote the Kenobi book, and I liked it a lot. It highly disturbed me. I was driving in like South Dakota when I was listening to this. Oh no, it was Ohio. It was yeah. I was listening to it going through the flyover states, and I'm thinking like these Tuscans and stuff like that. And it was really disturbing ending. Really disturbing ending. It was a good ending too, but it was good. But it was a really good book. For Kenobi, for his character. But in the process of that book, he knew how to stealthily evade people and people threatened him. Like these rebel youths try to like beat him up. He knew how to evade swiftly. He knew how to dodge their moves. He knew how to like dodge, stay out of the crossfire. So as a Jedi Knight, he's trained to use the Force in stealth. He's not solely dependent on his lightsaber. So he can definitely kick some butt in a very clever way. You'd have to do a little choreography. You'd have to be a little clever in your writing. But Kenobi can kick butt in a stealth-like way using the Force. He can still use the Force. but he's going to be tossed around like a rag doll by pretty much anyone in this Kenobi series, because the argument is, oh well, no, he can't look like a warrior. He's in hiding. But maybe Ahsoka Tano is going to show up and she's going to know how to stealthily use the Force. So there you go. So that's going to be prediction and complaint number 2. He's going to be tossed around. He's going to be beaten down, talked down, and all that. He's going to be pretty much emasculated as a character. So that's my prediction. Those are my 2 predictions. And if I think of more predictions, I'll talk about it. Now, before we get into the comments on that, because I could definitely talk about Star Wars stuff and what people say, obviously, because I can't help myself. See, I'm an addict a little bit. Let's actually talk about one final thing. And this actually is for more musicians and independent artists. So I know you guys are artists in maybe the graphic novel or comics way, or illustrators or something like that. And if this might be something to consider if a certain scenario happens to you. But this final piece of news actually has to do with the independent artists, the musicians. So let's go ahead and share the screen. And I'm going to read an article. I think it is short though. So let's go ahead and do that. And can we see this? Yep. All right, good. Let's talk about it. Excuse me. So Bandcamp, acquired by Fortnite maker Epic Games. So if you're not aware of what Bandcamp is, it's a music platform, a music website where artists can upload their music and sell their music directly to people. And they usually get about an 82% revenue. Bandcamp does take a little bit of a cut, not including processing fees. So you got to add that to the mix as well. And I was on Bandcamp for a long time. I was on Bandcamp for about 3 years, but I was under a label. And I decided to leave that label, I think last July, and it was for the best. Not anything against the person who ran the label or the label itself, but it was taking on a kind of look and style that was more lo-fi ambient electronic music, and I'm more eclectic, upbeat, and maybe even working in things like an uplifting genre, or things like solar fields, or whatever the case is. But my music just was kind of the black sheep of that label. And so I was taking about 70% from that label, and then minus the 15% that Bandcamp takes, and then another 70%, another 30% of that that the label took. And that was actually really fair of the label to take only 30%. But after not getting about 45%, I decided, well, let me just set up my own Bandcamp page. And then I thought, you know what? No, let me set it up exclusively on my website and then on streaming platforms. So I'm actually no longer on Bandcamp. I still go to Bandcamp. I still have a fan account. I have a collection of pieces or albums that I've bought. So I think it's fine as a fan user. And I might go back as an artist, if I'm exploring more possibilities. But recently, this month, Bandcamp was acquired by Epic Games. Fortnite. You can see this kind of picture here, the same, pretty attractive animation. And so let's go ahead and read it and see what this is about, see my thoughts on it. If you guys have thoughts on it as maybe independent artists, or if you know people who are musicians, stuff to talk about. Epic Games, maker of hit video game Fortnite and Unreal Engine, has acquired online music store and direct-to-fan platform Bandcamp. That was very wordy. In a statement published by Epic, the company says that Bandcamp will play an important role in its vision to build out a creator marketplace ecosystem for content, technology, games, art, music, and more. So I want to actually highlight that an important role in establishing an ecosystem for content, technology, games, art, music, and more. Now, I find this really peculiar because Bandcamp is exclusively music. You don't sell videos on Bandcamp. You don't sell blogs or newsletters on Bandcamp. You can sell, I think you can sell merchandise on Bandcamp, but that's related to your music. So it's exclusively music. Like the fans go to get the CD, get the bonus track, whatever the case is, that it's been exclusively music. So this idea that a major game company, a major game developer wants Bandcamp, well, why? Like you develop games and you if you want music for your games, well, why not hire a composer for that? Why are you looking into music, accruing music in this way? There's a little bit of a more, we'll get to this term, a little bit more of a metaverse going on. So it's not music exclusively anymore. It's all games, all art, all technology, and content. The news follows the firm's acquisition in November of Harmonix, creator of the popular Rock Band and Dance Central franchises, for an undisclosed sum. So Harmonix, I was seeing that this was another game industry, game developer, and I'm like, okay, this is interesting, and I guess it's those dance-off games. I don't know anything about those games, but okay, so you've got Bandcamp, and then you've got this other developer called Harmonix. At the time, Epic Games, which is backed by Sony Corporation and carries a 28 billion plus valuation, hinted at ambitious plans in music, stating that it would collaborate closely with Harmonix to develop musical journeys and gameplay for Fortnite, and that Harmonix will continue to support existing titles, including Rock Band 4. The company also claimed that as it works to build the metaverse, the Harmonix terms expertise is needed to reimagine how music. Let me say this clearly because this is important. The company has also claimed that as it works to build the metaverse, expertise is needed to reimagine how music is experienced, created, and distributed. Now, this is a little just kind of putting up some red flags for me. The first is the metaverse. Now, pretty much all across the board, all across the globe, people have the universally accepted idea of what the metaverse is. Now, we could talk about the immersive experience, like with the cloud and being, virtually connected to different things. And that's true, but meta is simply beyond. So it's moving kind of out of the body of the music collective. In this case, Bandcamp is no longer being exclusively music, but it's seeking to create like this connection, this ecosystem of all art forms, as if either Epic Games or Bandcamp, whichever the case is, however they do it, as if they are the intermediary to connect the music to the other things. Now, it says expertise is needed to reimagine, I hate that word, to reimagine how music is experienced, created, and distributed. Now, what this implies to me, I've read it in short science fiction and I've read it in news. This has been around for a little bit now, for probably since 2010. But the idea of virtual music concerts, this is not just a pandemic related thing. This has to do with things like you would hear of sci-fi, like holographic concert tours, like where the celebrity would be in your living room. That's stuff of science fiction, but that's also stuff that has been thought about. I think, who was the famous musician? Was his name Tupac? Is that his name? Where he's deceased, but like I think it was a couple years later after his passing that they did, like the people licensed who were entrusted with his property actually put on wasn't it like a holographic show? It was like a computer, it was a virtual show on stage. It was a long time ago. I think it was like 8 years ago now. Um, but I didn't look into this, but this is kind of what it's reminding me of, is that, oh, we want to reimagine how music is experienced, how music is taken in, how it's created, and how it's released. And I would say, you know, is there really a necessity for that when you have something that artists can access, like a platform like Bandcamp, and go directly to their fans? So let's read on. Epic's acquisition of Bandcamp marks an even deeper expansion into the music business. Announcing its acquisition today, March the 2nd, Epic states that fair and open platforms are critical to the future of the creator economy. The company adds, Epic and Bandcamp share a mission of building the most artist-friendly platform that enables creators to keep the majority of their hard-earned money. I mean, I guess you could call it fair that they take 50. I think they do take 15%, not including processing fees. And when you charge like $1 for a single track or $4 for a couple tracks, that's not a lot of money to take back. I felt it. That is for sure. Epic has been getting closer and closer to the music industry over the past few years. Now, I think we're coming on something really important here. The firm's flagship game, Fortnite, has served as a well-attended virtual performance and video premiere space for a number of major stars. While its Unreal Engine, another game, is used as the foundation for 3D music videos by Sony Music's Immersive Music Studios. Now, I hadn't looked into this company, the Sony's Immersive Music Studios, but I want to touch on a really important point. Let's hear that again. It served as a well-attended virtual performance and video premiere space for a number of major stars. So Fortnite, I know. I don't know anything about the game Fortnite, but I know for a while, it's been just the most popular game. You know, outside of Minecraft or whatever, Fortnite was like, there could be a number of YouTube channels who will have millions of subscribers talking about the same thing, Fortnite. It's like, I think I had a Fortnite channel follow me one time on Twitter. It's like, wow, we should do a collaboration. I'm like, who are you? I'm like, why do you have so many subscribers? I didn't ask him directly, but it was like him just talking about the game, and millions of subscribers, or at least hundreds of thousands. And so I knew then that, wow, Fortnite is a really big thing. Now, here's the thing. I understand it's very famous. I understand it's very well known and very, very popular among the consumers and the gamers. But because of that's the caveat here. It's provided a virtual space for performances of major stars. So Fortnite, and you guys please clarify this because I don't know anything about Fortnite, albeit that it's a very famous game, that it's so popular that it's actually ushered in celebrities of maybe virtual appearances or maybe cartoon renditions. I don't know, maybe voiceover work. I don't know what they mean by major stars, but that's a huge red flag for me. It's a huge red flag for me as an independent artist, because if Epic Games has already ushered in famous people, well, where's that going to lead the independent artists? You know, I actually think with something like this, with a transition like this, excuse me, the independent artist will actually be buried in the sand. You know, they won't be seen as maybe the CEO of Bandcamp is hoping. So let's read on. In a blog post published today, Bandcamp's co-founder and CEO writes that Bandcamp will continue to operate as a standalone marketplace and music community, and he will continue to lead its team. I imagine that happening for a short duration, maybe 1 to 2 years before they start expanding in a different way. But that's just speculation. Ethan Diamond is his name. Bandcamp's mission is to help spread the healing power of music by building a community where artists thrive through the direct support of their fans, said Ethan Diamond, CEO and co-founder of Bandcamp. In Epic, we've found a partner who believes as deeply as we do that the future of music and art itself depends on the creation of equitable and inclusive communities, hearts all over, like the one our fans and artists have helped to build. Now, I will give you a side. It is pretty progressive looking if you take a look at Bandcamp, and they are about things. You know, they're artists, so a lot more progressive leaning. Than what I would prefer. I just prefer listening to music. And I'm not against that being one-sided, one side above another. But when you have that value, that could bring in more people, or that can say, oh, maybe I can't use these lyrics as a Christian on a platform like this, or something like that, or like some conservative talking point. So something to consider. I didn't leave Bandcamp for that reason, though. But I didn't apply for any jobs at Bandcamp for that reason, because it's like, I don't think you would agree with me philosophically, so maybe I shouldn't. And then he also says, we're excited to work alongside the Epic team to accelerate the realization of our mission and pursue our shared goal of empowering more creators in a fair and open way. Now, the only way I see this working for independent artists who don't make a lot of money on their Bandcamp is if this CEO and his team actively puts these independent artists on the spotlight all the time. Now, I'm not sure how Bandcamp works. Actually, let me go ahead and I'll go ahead and actually load up the page. I won't go into much detail on the page, but let's go ahead and we'll get back to the article. And let's go ahead and share the Bandcamp page. And so you guys can see what this looks like. So you guys see that? Yeah. And I don't condone anything that has, implicit pictures and all that stuff. But you can see actually just from the screen that it's very, we got kind of Dutch dub glitch, got East European look. We got some artist, look, you can see here like a female artist wearing like a long trench coat. You've got, saturated, illustrations here. So you can see here, I won't go down that much, but you can see, I think below is like blogs and stuff. This isn't a really good selection, and I'm sure the images are pretty small on your screen. But actually, this is not looking as artiste as I thought it would. Yeah, okay, so you can see just based on like the color palette of some of these pictures that it's very much an indie artist feel. It's like your 58-year-old dad is producing music. Like he wants to go back to guitar and record stuff, or you want to be a part of the cultural revolution, or you're the young punk who wants to make a statement. It's kind of that feel. It's always been that feel, and I've been on it since, and I have my own stuff there. I have my own collection. But what I wanted to say with this, see, you can see this scrolling. I'm not going to click on any of this. You can see where these people are coming from: United Kingdom, Germany, United States. Let's see if there's any other countries that pop in. More United States. It says fans have paid $899 million using Bandcamp and $24 million in the last year. More United States, more United Kingdom, Sweden. So you got this kind of underground European feel. It is pretty underground. But if you click on one of these, one of these images, chances are these albums that have been scrolling, as you can see pop up here, Georgia, never mind. They have gotten a lot of fans. So these artists are a little bit more popular than most, accruing a lot of money. So chances are you're not going to see an album that hasn't made a lot of money. But I would say like Bandcamp should continue saying, hey, let's support this artist for today. Like, do an artist a day, or do an artist an hour, get some bigger images on the homepage for CDs that don't sell. Maybe pick a genre, maybe pick electronica, for an hour, and then pick up, folk for another hour or something like that. But I don't know how much they really do support the independent artists, like how to help market the independent artists. This is a lot of information to go through. Like, okay, oh, do I want this? Do I want that? Do I want that? Oh, that looks like a good cover. Oh, it disappeared. Can I go back to it? So I don't know. I would say it's not the best when you're just browsing for independent music. So I'm going to stop sharing that. And then I'll go back to the article. And we're almost done with the article. And then I'll get back to the chat. One more time. Can you see that? Okay. So yeah, so they're saying empowering more creators. That might be true, but I think with the buyout of Epic Games, I think they're going to really concentrate on which artist, independent, accrues the most and work with that with their games or their collaborations, or it's going to be a celebrity site. It's going to be Bandcamp will get huge where celebrities will be now marketed and not the independent artist. That's my prediction. I could be wrong. This could be a very good thing for independent artists, but I'm not so sure. So it'd be interesting to know what you guys think about that. If you have any thoughts. Steve Allison, Vice President and General Manager of Store, the General Manager Store at Epic Games, that's how it's worded, that's kind of confusing, added, "We couldn't be more excited to welcome the Bandcamp team to Epic Games. Bandcamp," he continues, "has built an incredible community and business where up-and-coming artists can succeed thanks to the direct support of their fans. One of the best revenue models and terms in music." Well, I'm going to beg to differ because I work. I have a website now. I do pay a monthly fee on my website just to keep it up. But I can sell music for just processing fees. Only processing fees are taken out, and so if I sell it for $1, I'm going to get more than 85% of that dollar. And people who know me on YouTube can go straight to my website. It's really easy. So I'm not saying Bandcamp is bad or is ineffective, but it's not the one end all be all model as well. Bandzoogle is really getting to be what I could see a pretty effective website platform. Bandzoogle is the website platform that I work with. All right, and he continues, "This aligns closely with Epic's approach to supporting creators all across all media and enabling them to connect directly with their fans." Again, that's not a hard mission to attain or a hard goal to attain. That's a very easy mission. Any company can do that. I can do that not even being part of a company like Bandcamp. I can talk directly to my fans. It's kind of like with you guys as people who listen to my channel. It's like I have direct, I'll you can email me, of course, but as far as direct communication, yeah, hello, I'm right here. This is not a bot. All right, let me do a quick read through of this, and then I will be ending it here. So this is Ethan Diamond's blog post from below. All right. Hopefully I'm not repeating myself. I'll just go through this rather quickly. "I'm excited to announce that Bandcamp is joining Epic Games, who you may know as the makers of Fortnite and Unreal Engine and champions for a fair and open internet. Bandcamp will keep operating as a standalone marketplace and music community, and I will continue to lead their team. The products and services you depend on aren't going anywhere. We'll continue to build Bandcamp around our artists' first revenue model, where artists get a net average of 82% of every sale." So 82%. I thought it was 85%. So 82. He's a little more honest. "And you'll still have the same control over how you offer your music. You can do the same on a website. Bandcamp Fridays." So Bandcamp Fridays was a response to the pandemic, where the first Friday of every month, you would get all royalties. So Bandcamp would not take any of that. So that is continued as planned, and we will keep highlighting the diverse, amazing music on the site. However, behind the scenes, we're working with Epic to expand internationality and push development forward across Bandcamp, from basics like our album pages, mobile apps, merch tools, payment systems, and search and discovery features, to newer initiatives like our vinyl pressing and live streaming processes. I think, okay, first of all, I think live streaming, if Bandcamp had the uh, accessibility to be a successful live stream platform, I would still live stream on YouTube. But as far as music, if that was a lot more accommodating, I would check that out. Since our founding in 2008, we've been motivated by the pursuit of our mission, which is to help spread the healing power of music by building a community where artists thrive through the direct support of their fans. Again, so I'm kind of repeating a little bit of that. This simple idea has worked well with payments to artists and labels closing in on 1 billion US dollars. And while over the years we've heard from other companies who wanted us to join them, we've always felt that doing so would only be exciting if they strongly believed in our mission. We're aligned with our values and not only wanted to see Bandcamp continue, but also wanted to provide the resources to bring a lot more benefits to artists, labels, and fans who use the site. Epic ticks all those boxes. We share a vision of building the most open, artist-friendly ecosystem in the world. And together, we will create even more opportunities for artists to be compensated fairly for their work. Whether you have joined Bandcamp recently or have been with us since the beginning of 14 years ago, thank you for being part of this incredible community, and we look forward to serving you for many years to come. So that is the article. Let me grab some more water. Oh, let me mute myself because I heard myself. There we go. Heard myself on the YouTube. So, I'm not on Bandcamp, so this does not affect me in any way, professionally speaking. But I found this buyout kind of curious. It's like, maybe it would be good in the long run for independent artists. But the thing is, the music on Bandcamp doesn't have the production quality and accessibility that game developers would really want in music. Because it's a lot of these independent artists work in low budget home studios, and the quality is just not up to snuff as they would hear from high quality production that they would hear on television or in a film or in another game. So it's a curious buyout. I don't know what you guys think about it. I'm going to give a prediction. In the long run, I think actually this will squash independent artists into irrelevance. I really think Epic Games is. I don't suspect it will. I can't imagine something of that magnitude, that business magnitude, want to have any interest with independent artists. Now, maybe the CEO of Bandcamp, maybe he is honest when he says that that's his mission to, keep it artist friendly, keep it fair, keep it open, and all of that. But if you have success like on the level of Fortnite, you're not going to dabble in, $3 lo-fi ambient, low budget, low quality albums. You're just not, and that's actually quite common in Bandcamp. There's great stuff on Bandcamp. Dream Theater's on Bandcamp. So famous people are on Bandcamp. But at the same time, I think they're going to be very selective in who they're going to make accessible on this new meta ecosystem verse or whatever this is. So those are my news. That's my news. That's my speculation. My music, my speculation of the music news of the world today. So hopefully you like that. I enjoy talking about random stuff like that. Sorry, I think I have something under my lip. Let us continue reading what you guys have to say. Okay, so Elijah is confirming, yeah, old characters returning like Spider-Man. No Way Home had apparently And apparently in No Way Home, and apparently in the Multiverse of Madness. Is that the new Doctor? Yeah, that's the new Doctor Strange film coming. I feel like I'm finally being rewarded for enduring the MCU. No! I mean, so the prof and I, we're going to go through Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and then follow it chronologically. And we're going to watch Infinity War, but I'm kind of cool with just closing it and capping off there. He says that there no spoilers, guys, but he says that no spoilers for any of the Marvel stuff because I haven't. What was the last film? Civil War was the last film that I had seen, and so I don't know what happens after that, and I don't want to be spoiled with anything Agents of Shield. Of course, Prof is a modifier on this, or not modifier, moderator on my chat. So like any spoilers, he can just take that out and report you. But yeah, so I yeah, but yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna like, tie your hands and bind them with a rope or whatever, for watching what it is. But I think people who are really sincerely disappointed with franchises should not be supporting them by watching them. Because it's a I don't know how to describe it. I had a weird way of saying it in my head, but it's kind of like you're kind of giving them license to your own opinion, meaning any other bad opinion you might have of them, well, they'll hold this little paper, this contract saying, "Hey, wait a second. No. I've got your opinion right here in a paycheck because you viewed my stuff. You're like the fans who do like my stuff, but you say you hate my stuff, but you're still watching my stuff." So anyway, but again, I bear no ill will for people. Like if you feel inclined to watch it, that's fine. It's just more like just remember that anything you have issue with going forward has been paid for by the present viewership of the present project. Sir Stone, I think based on what I've seen with comments of fans, I think it will be not the same as the Last Jedi, but it's gonna be another Last Jedi moment. Except it's gonna be a watered down Last Jedi moment. So you're saying, considering the backlash against Boba Fett, I can only imagine the ire Kenobi will draw. Well, the thing is, even though Boba Fett was an original character and he was cool, Kenobi has so much history. Like he has way more girth than Boba Fett. So in a strange way, you can almost forgive Disney for messing up Boba Fett the way they did, but it's not going to be on that same level as Kenobi because Kenobi has so much background. He has so much background. He has so much history. Like we've known this character. We've known Boba Fett a little bit, but he's more of an enigma. Obi-Wan Kenobi is not an enigma. He starts out as an enigma to Luke, but then his character has been fleshed out over the last 4 decades. And I think Professor, I think if I can understand this correctly or guess correctly, I think this is the Matt Wilkins episode. It was a fun watch. Differences of opinions between the 5 people. I think. Okay. I think I had something stuck under my lip. And Ace says, and now since you've mentioned Thrawn, you met Timothy Zahn at a collective con this last weekend, and he signed all your EU books for free. That's so cool. Bought a copy, the green and the gray, because he was that great. I have no idea what that is. Now, his new Thrawn stuff, I think, is Disney continuity. That is different from the EU continuity. But I'm sure he's a really all-around great guy. Like, whatever creative decisions he's made now with Disney, I don't take it to heart because, like, he brought us the Thrawn trilogy. It's kind of like Lucas. Like, I will never agree with everything that George Lucas did. And I probably wouldn't appreciate a sequel that he had in mind. I don't People say, "Oh, I wish we had a sequel trilogy from George Lucas himself." I'm like, "You know what? I really didn't need that." Like, whatever he had, for an idea, sure, it might have been cool, but, like, honestly, I'm just happy he gave us the originals and the prequels. I don't need anything else from George Lucas. So any creative decisions he makes in the future, if he makes any creative decisions in the future, I'm not gonna, like, hold it over him and say, "No, but you were perfect before." It's like, I'm grateful that he gave us Star Wars. That's the thing. No matter how many people favor, um, other people over Lucas, in the creative department, just remember, no matter how much you disagree with George Lucas, he did give us Star Wars. If he didn't he get di Wasn't he like a banker or a no, I think that was someone else. I think that was another famous person, famous artist. Charles Ives, I think, was the famous American composer. I think he was an insurance adjuster or insurance person, or maybe he started. I don't know. I heard he was not a composer for a living. I have to check that. But if Lucas went on to become an accountant, and didn't focus on his pet project, or his baby, then we would never have seen Star Wars. We probably would not even have this community. Because as far as geekdom is concerned, Star Wars is my thing. Nothing else really. I mean, I'm geeking out on things like Middle Earth, Agents of Shield, but that's cool though. So good for you, meeting some of these on. That's pretty sweet. Professor Geek, Elijah Brown, and again, I don't want to pick on Elijah Brown, but there are go with your conscience. But he mentioned support if you like, but that money and promotion just allows them to do a Kamala Khan series and bring America Chavez into Doctor Strange. And I think Prof was talking about that, where Chavez is going to appear in Doctor Strange. And I thought she was just a Latina with a bad attitude, but apparently she is the ideologue's baby, the star child of the ideology. I don't know anything really about her character, but all I know is that an ideologue created her. So, and that's the thing. So RJ from the Fourth Age he's talked about it in a number of his videos, where these people don't like making comics. Let me say that again. These people don't like making comics, but their reason for making comics is to use that as a vehicle for the films. They are after the films. They are after the TV shows. They are not after your standard issue. They don't care about comics, but they're using comics as a vehicle to promote those things and promote that literature in student libraries and school libraries, so students can read all that crud, and then use it as a vehicle for the movies. America Chavez was a comic book character, but they didn't want her to stay there. They wanted her in the film, and they won. They won. And RJ was right. I knew RJ was right. Yeah, he's probably going to talk about that too if it is confirmed. Oh, cool. I did not know that. I'll have to look at that. For all the problems of the prequels, George really knew how to keep his locations interesting. That's the thing, is like his world building is like, I've heard Star Wars fans call it too clean, like Naboo, but it's kind of like you kind of have to juxtapose Naboo with Tatooine. Like, Padme has to come from someplace really nice. Maybe it was a little over the top, but it kind of looked like that space fantasy. The colorful, Flash Gordon. I mean, he was really inspired by that, and it's beautiful to this day. It's aged so well, the world building. I'm kind of surprised that 20 years later, it doesn't look as impressive. Like I don't know, I don't know why. But George Lucas had an eye for aesthetics. And I think the Clone Wars animated series, for all its writing faults, I think they did a good job with the world building there too. Well, don't leave us, Elijah Brown. We're not harping on you, okay? We're not haranguing you. But it's just all I'll say is just go with your conscience. So if your conscience is resolved in saying, okay, I know it supports this, then who am I to say to have you go against your conscience? But if there is that tick, like, oh man, I really can't. I really shouldn't. I like it, you know. So your prediction for Kenobi sounds dangerously close to what I've heard about Star Trek Picard. I don't know anything about Star Trek. I know it's a train wreck, a Trek train wreck. Now, I've heard Star Trek fans be very disappointed with the creative decisions in the last, what is it, 5 years now? Maybe longer. It kind of broke my heart. I follow this game composer who's one of my favorite game composers. He follows me on Twitter too. Dave Wise, or David Wise, of the Donkey Kong Country, and it's nice. Sometimes he'll heart my comments. I'm like, yeah, cool. He knows me. That's great. But it kind of broke my heart. He's like, oh, he loves Picard. I was like, oh man. But I don't know anything about Star Trek. But if it's anything like the creative decisions of Star Wars, it's like, okay, it's Wolfton. Hello, Wolfton. Good to see you. I've seen you in some of the comments of RJ's videos. It's been great. Okay, hitting the sack. Peace out. Okay, have a good night. Thanks for watching pretty much the whole stream. Oh, we're after 90 minutes. We made good time. Sir Stone says, Sir, if it'll pop up, Sir Stone says, I think Epic just wants an easy way to gain copyright to all the silly dance. Oh. This would be a real business conspiracy theory, but I just had a nightmarish concept. It was just an idea that happened, because this has been a thing with Disney. This has been a thing with Disney, and these buyouts are they're not the greatest. They haven't ensued the greatest things. And what if there was an arrangement that Epic Games could use your music without your permission? Think about that. And people say, oh no, that's beneath morals and principles. It's like, well, it's been done before. It's been done with major corporations. I don't know. That was just kind of a nightmarish thought that came to mind. Thanks for bringing that up. Let's see. Elijah Brown says, you do have a point about me funding their pay. To me, the whole thing is just not as simple as, to me, the whole thing is not as simple as just bad SJW writing, which is easy to reject. Now it's temptation. Well, I think, yeah, and you raise a really good point. Actually, for the prof in me, of course, it's the ideology in the writing. Absolutely. No question. Even if it was good writing, it's not our preference. But the standard is good writing. So I have heard with comments with RJ's channel, Thor Skywalker's channel, people like Nerdrotic and people listening to them. I've heard the sentiment, well, at least it's not woke. It's like, that's your standard now? But what if the writing is crud? But it's not woke. There's no woke stuff in it. But how's the writing? Give or take. It's like, well, you can't just settle for that. And now here's the thing. I've been talking about this with the prof. It's like, I've highly enjoyed Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I keep bringing it up because, one, it's like really the only television show I'm watching, because I just don't watch that much TV. I always work on my music and my art and teach and stuff like that, and do stuff for my YouTube content. Where was I going with this? Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Oh, but Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., when I am watching television, it's a wonderful experience. It's not a meh experience. It's not like my heart is pumping. I'm like, I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm like, I'm really feeling for these characters. Like, how are they going to get out of this situation? There's so much heart in the matter in that show. I care about every character, even the new ones coming in. I miss the old characters going away. Like, it's so I'm so personally invested in these characters and these scenarios. Like, how are they gonna get out of this situation? How are they gonna solve this? And it's not like a doom, like a doom upon the world thing. This Some of the doom is just very localized. It's like, is this one character going to get out of this situation, or am I going to feel grieved? Because we have felt loss with some things happening in that show. No spoilers. We're only in season 4, but there's so much heart in that show. And because of that, from now on, that's my standard. That's my standard of good writing. Now, of course, the chemistry and the writing and the feel and the atmosphere is going to be different. Like, I think our next endeavor is going to be Stargate or one of the older sci-fi classics, because I love sci-fi. I really love sci-fi. So we're going to get into that. Was it Stargate? No, Babylon 5. I think Babylon 5 was going to be the one. I don't know anything about Babylon 5, but Prof is a massive fan. And because he approves of the writing, I trust that the writing is going to be good. It's not going to be the same humor or chemistry between characters, because it's going to be a different feel of acting. It's going to be a different feel of story and set pieces and aesthetics and all that. But the writing, that's the quality of writing. That's my standard, woke or not. And even if there were some nuances that were based on ideology that I don't approve of, if it's done really, really well, give or take, there could be like one thing peppered in every once in a while. And this is true with, like, Christian, like direct Christian themes. Obviously, things like virtue and morality and good versus evil, that can be seen as Christian undertones, like with Lord of the Rings. But even I don't care for things to be so allegorical, like so on the nose, like this is what this means, even if I had agreed with it as a Christian. So anyway, so that's my thing, is like, it's now people are arguing, well, at least it didn't have this in it. It's like, can you like, if you settle for that, that's it. But I don't want a meh experience. Like, I want an Agents of Shield experience all the time now. Because we have short lives, man. I'm turning 35. I don't feel old. I'm very proud of my age. But life goes on, and I want to make sure I'm spending it in a productive way and a creative way too. All right, my water's getting low. Danza is in the house. I hope I pronounced that name right, or Danza. But are we going to see you perform violin in a Bandcamp metaverse in 2025? I tell you, I'm not against it if I can get exposure. Oh, that was the CEO saying that that independent artists would get more exposure. Maybe 1 or 2 years in, but I don't think so. I think the celebrities are going to take over. Now, we'll get back to your question, but I had another thought. YouTube is kind of funny. It's a funny experience with YouTube, because YouTube started with, do-it-yourself videos, how to put a bed frame together, and it started growing where people started taking on their own forms of entertainment, whether it was, comedians who did skits, commentaries, political commentaries, entertainment on any topic, music, gaming, whatever the case is, to the point where people started becoming famous through YouTube. The fascinating thing is people like Will Smith or Brie Larson or whatever, Kevin James. Not to say that I don't know about Brie Larson, but like, not to say that the other channels aren't worth watching or whatever, but it even with someone like Will Smith or Kevin James, YouTube inadvertently, I don't think it meant to do this. I think it wanted to serve the celebrities. it's just not been a site for celebrities. Now the celebrities will have their followers and their YouTube subscribers, and they'll have a couple million or two, and they'll have their 100,000 views, but it doesn't work like, oh, I'm here to see a celebrity. With Epic Games, I think it's going to be different. I think it's going to be celebrity focused. Maybe not the first year or two, but I think 3, 4, 5 years down the road, I think it's going to really not be a good thing for independent artists. But that's just my speculation. Now for exposure, I'm willing to do pretty much any platform for exposure. I will say this though, I was gonna do an Irish reel for Thursday for St. Patrick's Day, like a recording. I gotta tell you guys, I'm just not. I did a little bit of recording today before the stream, and I'm not a fan of the audio. It's just so. This is not the right microphone for my violin, and I just don't know where to go with that for my violin. I want a good whole acoustic violin sound. Ironically, my Canon camera microphone picks up my violin so much better than this condenser microphone. Don't know why. Don't know why. So I'm kind of tentative of doing live performances until I get a nice audio setup. I don't even need a good visual setup. It'd be nice, like having like all this, like having maybe that with all maybe like a place where I can sit. That's where my bed is right now, but maybe a place where I can sit and then have black acoustic foam and some blue purple lights, like they do with the studios, like Young Ripa, he has the light. Everyone has the lights. Why can't I have the lights? And then have like a seat where I can perform there. But that's still way down the road. Still way down the road. I'm not a fan of the audio that I have as far as my violin. My electronics I'm fine with, but my violin, man, I don't know what to do. I'm still troubleshooting. It's been a battle. I don't know who you're talking about, Sir Stone. I don't have a crossover stream with RJ. Oh, I think it's Wolf10 looks at RJ videos, and we were commenting. I made a comment, and he responded to that comment. So that's what I mean. Like I'm a contributor. Like I comment on RJ's videos sometimes if I feel like it. Go Team Ghost Planet says they give into the Batman as a nihilistic edgelord film. Oh my gosh, it's so true. So true. Now I think I heard that the Batman film now with Pattinson had kind of a more aspirational edge at the end, like he was supposed to look like personable like Superman, which I don't think is his role. He's aspirational, but he's not smiling all the time like Superman is, shaking civilians' hands and stuff like that. He's his own version of hope. My goodness, though, like the fan base, the DC fan base is divided on who Batman should be. It's crazy. It's crazy. I think he's an emblem of hope in the night, and that's all. That's all it needs to be. He doesn't need to, just because he's dark doesn't mean that he's without hope. I don't get it. Anyway. But that's actually everything on my end. I don't know what's going to go on with my. Let's go ahead and wrap things up here because I'm actually kind of feeling a little winded. I'm low on water too, and I'm ready to just kind of chill now. But thank you guys so much for watching like all that. Don't go yet. We're not quite done. Yeah. I like talking about these random things. If more music news comes up, I'll let you guys know, of course. But I thought that was really fun. I think for next week, we're going to get into the nitty-gritty, gnarly behind the scenes of film composers and really what goes on in the work of film composers. And it's a very different animal from game composers. I think game composers have it much better now as far as pay and credits and all that. And I think film composers, it's just there's some insightful things, some sobering things. And I want to give my insight, not as a film composer, because I've never composed for film, but as an independent composer. Like, I think I have better deal as someone who sells original music. Not to say I would exclude the opportunity of composing for a film, depending on the film, but it's we're going to probably talk a little bit about corporate nepotism, with figures like Hans Zimmer and the new guy, Ludwig Göransson, and we're just gonna talk about that next week. I think people should know what goes into the work of film composition or composition in general, and how it could be kind of an unfair industry for people who work in film. So that's going to be a little bit a tease of what's going to be on the dock next Monday stream. And then I kind of want to get into talking about people like Hans Zimmer specifically, why I would score him the way I would score him. So that's one thing. Oh, am I off? Oh, can you guys hear me? Is my sound off? I should talk so you can confirm. Can someone confirm that my mic is on? Anyone? Oh, actually, I probably could hear myself. Anyone confirm? Because I don't want to keep talking. Here, let me see. Okay, I sound fine. Okay, good. Actually, I told Kev Bayless, the concept artist for Donkey Kong, I told him, hey, your sound is off, but it was actually my software. I was working in a software and it flipped his audio off on YouTube, and I told him, I'm like, oh, sorry, it was my computer. Sorry. So what was I talking about? So that's gonna be the tease next week. We're gonna talk about the ins and outs of some behind the scenes, not so nice stuff about film composing. For Friday, for Thursday or Friday, I would like to do a SuperCollider video, but I haven't done SuperCollider so far this week. I'll try to do it a little bit more tomorrow. I've been working on my original music, my electronic music. I've just been trying to get some work done there so I can actually release music, because it's March and I haven't released anything yet this year, so it's kind of time to release some stuff. So if I don't get into SuperCollider this year, or this week, we'll probably just do some more original music, something nice and simple. Confirming Catholic Bible Geek book study on Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, this Thursday. Or not Thursday, Tuesday, tomorrow. Tomorrow sometime. I think tomorrow at 9 or 10. Because I know you teach Prof at Tuesday evenings. So if you want to confirm what you're doing, what channel, and what time, because I know it's Tuesday. I just want to make sure I got the time right. And then, of course, you've got the rewatches with Al and his friends, and also, Big Al presents reviews and all of that. And of course, we have the various streamings of our friends Wolf 10 and Dr. Y probably might have something. I don't know. I need to check. I've been so busy and I haven't been that diligent in checking. So no hard feelings, Elijah Brown. No, we are not mad at you, okay? We just, oops, no hard feelings. All right, good. Okay, Return of the King study book tomorrow at 9:30 over on the Catholic Bible Geek channel. So be watching out for that. And then, of course, all your favorite streams for the rest of the week. So thank you guys so much. I look forward to seeing you in other people's chats this week. And always, until I see you next, you got to keep producing, preserving, and promoting the art you love. And I will catch you later. Thanks again.